Mic check, check, check. We're here with the incomparable Glasses Malone.
I like that, incomparable. Yeah, I've been thinking though, like Glasses the Terrible. I like that. Like Ivan, you feel me? Like I've been thinking about that. I thought about changing my name to the Honorable Glasses Malone. Yeah, that's for real.
You know,
I thought about it.
Names are powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I always think about that, like Nip, like everybody be like Nip the Great,
Right.
And then I see everybody else be calling themselves the Great. I'm like, that ain't really the purpose. You supposed to kind of find your own thing that fit, your personality. And I'm starting to realize. My mom used to tell me this all the time, but I never tripped off. She's like, you're a tyrant.
Okay.
And it's starting to really make sense. Like now I see certain things. I had a marketing meeting yesterday, and they was talking about how tyrannical and thought I was. That's my cousin Sibo here, and I'm thinking about stuff that I would recommend to like our card club, and I guess it did come across pretty tyrannical at a certain time.
You know, our last conversation, you said something that stuck with me that was actually motivational to me. You said your goal is to enforce your will on the industry.
Yeah.
Enforce your will.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was powerful. I think that resonates when I hear, the Honorable Glasses Malone. When I hear Glasses Malone the Terrible, or these names that you're going for yourself, or you're considering for yourself. That was last fall. Cancel these nuts. We're in the spring. Fuck Glasses Malone. How's the journey to physically impose your will on the industry going?
That's a good question. How is that going? Me enforcing my will on the industry. Well, one thing is like I've been telling people for 10 years I noticed Drake wasn't hip hop. Certain things people's eyes are starting to open. Shout out to Lil Bro, but people's eyes are starting to open. Like, oh, I see kind of what he's saying, and it started being slower and slower and slower. And now it's picking up where they like, oh, I see what Glasses is saying. And so it's certain people that want to talk to me about that. And I'm like, it's so fitting that fuck Glasses is right now. You know what I mean? When me and my homie was joking, we was calling like people that like Drake, like Al Lover, we was calling his fan base Peter. You know what I'm saying? Like how Nicki got the barbs, he got Peter. You know what I mean? They all trying to protect the Al. And it's so funny because you would think like there would be a mission to destruct like him, and it's not. It's to make sure we preserve some level of, opportunity for people that hip hop was created for. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't want to look up in this rock and roll where there's not a brother in sight. No disrespect to rock and roll, but it came because they was playing faster to try to. Rock and roll is only there because they was trying to play fast and stop so many of them people from stealing their song, and then they took that shit too. So, like I'm spending a lot of my days just making sure I keep a lane for the next kid from the ghetto to save, like it saved my life. You know what I mean? So shout out to all of the originals who created something to save, ghetto kids' life and give them a voice. So it's funny how people look at it, but yeah, it's going well. I can say that much. But the industry is definitely starting to look a lot more Glasses.
I agree with that, man. I mean, your insight, your conversations are so insightful and incisive. You know what I mean? Like you know what it is that you think, but you have a very sharp way of expressing it while still being open to new information. And I think that's what resonates when I heard Cancel These Nuts. I think it resonates with Fuck Glasses Malone. We're in a time that's so polarized right now. It almost does feel like you have to pick a side. Who are you with? Are you like them, or is it not like us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Nip used to recommend this book to me all the time. I finally read it. I read it while he was alive, but I didn't talk to him about it when he was alive. But it's called Contagious. And one of the dopest parts of that book, they talk about drawing, like one of the greatest things you could do in branding and marketing is draw a line in the sand. You know what I mean? And really throw rocks at everybody on the other side. And you just got to be okay with how people feel about it. They don't know they standing on the wrong side of history. Everybody, I'm not even upset that people don't understand what I'm saying. I get it. Like, everybody want to live vicariously through what they view as success. They don't even care if, like, somebody sucked a dick to get there. You know what I mean? Or anything, they compromise anything that they're not for. Like, if you suck dicks, that's fine if you suck a dick to get there. But if you don't suck dick and you suck a dick to get there, you know what I mean? I don't know if I would view that as successful if you went through all of that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at nobody that's standing on the wrong side of history. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Yo, I mean, I look at this project and, it's 16 tracks. The intro is this a real story? I mean, it sounds like there's a I don't know if it's an interrogation that's taking place.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. One of my young homies was fighting some homicides, and he went pro per on his case. Like, he decided to represent himself in his trial, and so they let him review all the evidence against him. And while he saw this interview, and this interview didn't really incriminate him, it showed him talking bad about everybody that he grew up with, just all to try to get away from, being, whatever they asking him about, to be accountable for the questions they asking him. So he spent 3 hours just bashing everybody he grew up with, everybody from the same community, just to avoid whatever sense of accountability was coming, because they were questioning him about, does he have a weapon that's involved in a crime? And somebody like me, who was somebody that fucked with him, never had a problem, always defending him. Like, he would even throw me like under the bus in the middle of this crazy homicide shit. And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? So it was another way to get to, like, it be your own homie saying fuck you sometimes. And I think that's kind of, you hear that in hip hop, but I don't think you've got it this nuance where you can see how the police could bring fear in somebody's life and make them turn their back on people that always had their backs, just to avoid a place that you've been before. You would, you wouldn't really keep the honor at that point if you had to go back. And like a nigga like me, somebody who really ain't been nothing but good to a person, he'll be like, fuck that nigga. Like, I don't fuck with his bitch ass. So we just added some production sparkle around it, gave it the feel of a TV show. But that's very much real. That's not no joke. That's real as hell. And that shit really hurt my feelings, like, honestly. It really bothered me. I wanted to really do something to him because it's somebody I really fucked with.
Was there any follow-up? Had you talked to him since then, or?
No. I'm just gonna punch him in his face.
How long ago was that?
So the interview, we got the whole conversation 2-3 months ago. But he was fighting this case 2 years ago. He just settled it. I think he took a deal for like 19 or 21 years. But he's like a little dude, so he'll be out when he's 30 or something. So it's better than for the rest of his life.
I got a quick
free C Herbo.
I got a quick note on imposing your will. Somehow we are conducting this conversation right now, and you have called me twice. I don't know if it's your phone in your pocket, or I don't know if someone's got your phone.
Man,
I keep getting calls
right
from
here.
Glasses Malone right now.
That's because it's supposed to be.
That's
you
the
feel me? That's how it's
right
supposed
there.
to be.
That's the universe.
Yeah, man. Gotta let this thing go.
You went viral this week on your Drake commentary, and one thing I've really appreciated about this conversation is something that you've always embodied, right? The difference between street culture, hip hop culture, pop culture. You are very defined in how you look at different segments of art, community, society, and you don't carry the same rules in every plane, in every sphere, right? And one thing that I appreciate is that you can recognize great art, you can recognize a great song, and not necessarily feel compelled to define it as hip hop, which is what you've been doing when it comes to Drake on this side of the conversation. That seems like that's opposing forces for a lot of people. How would you describe the differences clearly? Because I do think this is a conversation that's going to be carrying through the rest of this year.
And it's very significant since it's 50 years since, we're a year past the 50th anniversary of hip hop. But when you look at the pop space, the hip hop space, the street culture space, how would you look at those? How would you describe the differences between those three?
Well, street culture is just how we live. You know what I mean? You see it on like a platform like No Jumper. You get like if culture was seasoning, that shit salty as hell. You know what I mean? That shit salty. You feel me? Like you go watch some of that content, that shit'll choke you. You know what I mean? That's how bathed it is in seasoning when it comes to street culture, the street urban culture. Hip hop is the artistic expression of that. When you start to be an artist, and obviously you start to use the elements to express that culture itself artistically, right? Dance, b-boying, DJing, MCing, or graffiti, or like some of my New York brothers like to say, the knowledge of it all. So street urban culture, and then hip hop, again, is the artistic expression of that. Pop is just, pop is like Taco Bell when talking about Mexican food. They pulled enough season off of it for it to be digestible to the masses. It ain't bathed in Mexican seasoning and flavor. You know what I mean? That's not what Taco Bell is. Now, initially, the owner, Glenn, from Downey, he, was a lot closer to it as much as a white man could make Mexican food. You know what I'm saying? But fast forward, half a century roughly, a little bit more, that's not what it is. It's American cuisine. It is not Mexican food. I don't give a fuck if most of America eats it, and this is the closest they can get to Mexican food. It's not Mexican food. It's American cuisine. And that's what pop music is. It's a take on culture. It's a flavorless or very lightly flavored take on culture. You know what I'm saying? You get a couple guys like Michael Jackson that get a little bit more seasoning than others, but it ain't like that. So it's really simple to define. It's not really deep. Street urban culture is that densely populated, crime-ridden community, right? The culture that community produces. Hip hop is the artistic expression or the elemental expressions of that culture. And then pop music is culture diet, culture light. Here you go, made digestible for the masses. Fried chicken is soul food, but like I said, KFC don't sell soul food. It's just a little, less seasoned. So it's really easy for me to see, you know what I mean? And honestly, as I define my brand and my name, Glasses, just helping people see things that are easy to, maybe your shit, a lot of people's shit is out of focus. A lot of shit going on in people's ear, a lot of distractions in their way, people living vicariously through what they view as success, and you know what I mean? So people want to attach themselves to all kind of shit. So my job is to help them see. That's the best I could do.
I feel like the past 10 years, let's call it, in rap music, not even hip hop, but rap music, has been, very shiny given a lot of the circumstances, right? Like we've had uprisings in the street. 2020 had the uprising. We've had COVID, couldn't even really go outside. They tried to tell everybody to take all kinds of shots to make sure, that, that they didn't spread stuff. We've had, we had people try to run up in the Capitol building and take over the government.
That's crazy.
And we had the Milwaukee Bucks win the NBA Finals. Just stuff you never,
crazy, right?
Stuff you never thought you'd see has been happening. Yeah. I don't necessarily feel that rap music has been capturing some of this trauma, really. This is a traumatic period of time for
like hip hop's calling's card, right? We supposed to be right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the disconnect in your mind?
Rapping and hip hop. Rap is a vocal style that hip hop popularized. Rap existed before hip hop. DJing existed before hip hop. Graffiti existed before hip hop. Dancing existed before hip hop. Hip hop was the way we did things. Street urban culture artistically. That's what hip hop was. But now rap is so popular, everybody using it to just do their thing. Even pop singers, pop artists they're using rap and making rap songs because it's so popular. And again, they can rap and it's like, oh yeah, we got just enough seasoning with rapping, to get our message across. So a lot of the stuff we seeing at the forefront is not truly hip hop. It's really rap. It's just rap. People using rap songs. I had a good conversation with Steele about this, and it's a bit tyrannical in thought, but I've always felt hip hop is also about we. Pop music is about me. Hip hop is about we. Like, you gotta represent. Like, it's certain things I couldn't do. Like, somebody could say, hey, Glasses, you wanna kiss this man? If you kiss this man, we'll give you $2 million. Like, I'm at a shop, my homeboy shop, right? If I kiss that man for that $2 million, first off, it's gonna be a problem every time I see these niggas. It's not gonna be cool because I didn't embarrass them outside of embarrassing myself, because that ain't really my get down. So I carry the burden of everybody that raised me or made me the man that I am. From my community, not just inside my house, not just my father, not just my mother, rest her soul, but all of my homeboys. Like like my friends, I represent them. So I have to tread, I have to really, be certain in what I'm saying and what I'm doing, because I don't want to embarrass them. I don't want to make them look stupid, not even for money. Like, getting money ain't gonna fix nobody's problem, not none of our problems.
Are we at a nexus point where the listener's ear is, at least from a mass appeal standpoint, potentially pop appeal standpoint, is looking for something with a little bit more teeth in it, or authenticity to it? I ask, considering, one, this battle between Drake and Kendrick raised a lot of consciousness, in my opinion, or at least, how about this? It inspired people to be very interested in long songs. We'll at least say that. These long songs went platinum in this conversation. I think about Kanye West earlier this year. He is very independent right now. Found ways to advocate with a case study, so to speak, on the power of just independent music. Not everyone has the scale of audience that Kanye West does, but everyone could have the conversion rate that Kanye West does, maybe even on a smaller scale. I think about conversations that like Curtis King has all the time, talking about direct to consumer over streaming. Right? You look in Congress. There's a bill in Congress now trying to raise streaming prices or streaming payouts up to 1 cent. From 0.003 to 1 cent. So it seems like there's a broader conversation around, okay, the system isn't really right. Being a good person is coming through in songs in a way that I never heard of no rap beef before. I'll say that. Yeah. There's now a renewed emphasis in, maximizing the power of your own audience. Do you think that mass appeal populations are ready to hear maybe something that's more reflective of what this world has been like over the past 8 years, 10 years?
I think they were always ready to hear something for real. I think just like in real life, like, it's hard to cook a healthy dish for the whole population at one time. Like something like milk, right? Like, where you need to spread milk across the world, right? It's hard to spread milk to a mass, without pasteurizing it, without killing some of the vitamins and the minerals, because you need to keep it, alive, or you need to have it digestible still to some degree before it, gets, 5 days away from Florida if it's from California. And so I think there's always been a desire for full quality experiences, whether eating, music, anything, right? But I think that's what made hip hop so special. It was always so niche and cultural. You could have the people that represent you right here. Like, you think of Mixmaster Spade or Todd and them, Toddy T and them, or Short. That was right here, so the message could fit right here. You know what I'm saying? It could fit just this demo. But then, shout out to the 90s and all the people that I grew up listening to, but they took it national, and then that became the thing. You know what I mean? So it was cool when everybody was just learning the experience, and it was easier to market at that point. Like, I'm sure KFC was a lot easier to market. This is the first, national franchise. Like, white people who never probably had really good fried chicken got close as they could to the fried chicken that, my mama made every day. So I think there was always a desire for that type of quality experience in music. It's just hard to market it, and it's hard to make sure you distribute it at that quality level. Like, people won't know some of this stuff exists. It just happened to be in that battle, it was all eyes on them. And you were able to see that this still has a viable means. Even West Coast music, like, you still can see it has a viable, space in the music industry, like, or in the world. People want to hear what's going on around this motherfucker. They really want to hear that.
And I think your album, Fuck Glasses Malone, really captures that, right? Because it takes a more street level approach, I would say, than Cancel These Nuts. Cancel These Nuts seems more ideas based. This one feels more experience based, in my opinion. But also, I love the mashups that you put together on this, right? I mean, to your point, thinking about the 90s or maybe the early 2000s, that you have Corrupt and Exhibit on one of those. You know what I mean? It just feels quintessential. What made those two right for that track, and where did that come from?
I mean, if you're not talking about Ice Cube, lyricism, Corrupt and Exhibit kind of have carried the torch, outside of obviously anybody from the Alcoholics or, Raz or any of them guys. Exhibit and Corrupt are like shining lights when it comes to West Coast lyricism. And at that point, I just wanted to really rap. It was a lot of homage in it to BDP. So, I made sure I went and unveiled the top spitters that I like in the coast as far as lyricism goes, and focusing on the words more than per se just the flow.
And then 6 tracks later, you have Bring 'Em Out with Cam and Lil Wayne. And when I think of the 2000s, I think about them being top spitters that defined the 2000s. I also think they were compared to each other quite a bit and had a great relationship back then.
Sure.
Where'd that come from?
The style, man. So this project was like a reimagined idea from 2008 for me. When I first released my music, when I first got in the game, it was right before streaming took over, so everything was a physical product. iTunes kind of came about, but streaming hit real fast. And a lot of the music I released, it wasn't on streaming sites. So as I'm starting to move everything, I have all the physical products at thecripstore.com, but also like as I start to move the product to streaming sites, I'm listening to the music with a much more, talented and skilled record-making ear. It's not any longer like Lil Glasses that used to sell Sherman trying to be a rapper versus now it's like Glasses Malone, this prolific record maker, this top tier hip hop artist, where it's like, oh, let me fix these songs. And then I end up fixing and replacing 8 songs and making 8 brand new songs that had to fit 4 songs that I had before that still that embodied the spirit of what was happening at that time in my mind. So putting it all together was something special, but at that time it was big to put Dipset and Young Money together. Like, I really felt like both of those guys were the real father of style, and a lot of stuff we see now, but especially in those late 2000s, Wayne and Cam was like tough.
It's interesting. And when I think about those two too, people, they're 90s artists, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
for real,
they carried that 90s competitive ethos into the 2000s, and we're some of the few artists who could secure a release date whenever they needed one. That was a very barren period for music. People were getting dropped left and right. There was consolidation in the space. You almost go 10 years without a new mainstream female MC, and you also ran into challenges at that point in time for getting music out and letting the world hear everything that you had to say. What do you look back at yourself, when you look back at the things you experienced, the challenges in the industry that you went through at that point in time? What comes to mind?
Just being ignorant, not realizing there was something to know in 2009 about music. Like, I thought it was luck. I thought it was just, you make something and people like it, it's on. You know what I mean? And when people don't like it, it's not on. You know what I'm saying? So you have to spend a lot of time. Like you didn't know, so I had to do all of my homework and start studying. I had to study what was happening. And I think about 2008, 9, 10, how ignorant I was about records, about hip hop, about all of this stuff. I just really thought it was like, hey, you just rap, and if you rap good, people will buy it, versus really understanding, you know, the responsibilities as a hip hop artist, really conducting better business. You know what I mean? I didn't made so much money at this point, you know, even not being as successful as Lil Wayne or Cameron, and just thinking like, damn, like this can accidentally happen to you. You know what I mean? And then you could get confused. Thank God I wasn't arrogant. You know what I mean? I'd be done if I was arrogant, because I wouldn't have knew that I didn't know something. I'd just been like, oh, these people just stupid, versus me not realizing how to communicate an idea to them. So when I think of, 2008, 9, and 10, I think about just really being ignorant, really being, frustrated, depressed, because I'm not used to being really ignorant. That's not my thing. Like I always try to find information about what I'm doing. When we first started our car club, Ghetto Life, I came up with the name Ghetto Life, and older people taught me everything. Older homie taught me how to fish. My older cousin taught me how to work on cars. My father taught me how to work on cars. People always taught me things, and I was always willing to learn things. So being ignorant was like, that was tough. You know what I mean? Not knowing what the fuck is going on is insane. And I was also like conscious enough to realize I didn't know what was going on. It didn't matter. I never got like the average artist where I started blaming everybody like, oh, okay, it's Birdman's fault or it's Mac 10's fault. It's like, nah, Glass, it's something you don't know about what's going on. So when I think of that time period, I just think about how ignorant I was and what I didn't know like that I know now.
And then you have Dollars Make Sense with J-Rock and Absol.
Yeah.
And that's another duo. Like when I look at this project, when I think about this project, you did a very intentional job of the voices that you put on tracks together. Obviously there's a TDE connection there, but this is also representatives of the teens. Two of the most vicious lyricists on the West Coast in this past decade or so.
Sure.
Where'd that track come from?
That was J-Rock's song, and he put me on it, and we shot a video, and it was always this really special song that was like an underground, like people loved it. Like people would always talk to me about that song, and I realized it had never been put on streaming sites. Obviously TDE is, out of this galaxy at this point, So, but to me, that really symbolized where we was at that time. Like that was my job, to make sure when people go back and hear that project, they hear where we was at that time. It could have my wisdom of today, but it's still talking about where we was at that time on the West. Where was street culture at? Where was I at? Where was I meeting everybody at around that time period? So having that song there was special, and ended up being one of the most important songs on that project because it really spoke to our soul, like how we was getting down at that time, our attitude in the business at that time. It was really, we really felt like it was us against the world at that time, and we still feel like that to a degree.
And then you have This Is LA with the LA Giants representing voices right now. Incredible collective.
Yeah.
That's your crew. Talk about that song.
Man, This Is LA is just simple. It's I think people needed a reminder, like nothing changed. So it's one of those things that's permanent. Los Angeles is gonna be Los Angeles the whole time. So as much as that's a modern track, and we made it today, it still very much is any time past 1981 in Los Angeles. That's gonna always be what it is. So I've really been using a lot of Talkbox. I've probably been listening to entirely too much Zapp and Roger. I haven't used Auto-Tune, but I've been using a ton of Talkbox. Shout out to Sergio. Just really trying to bring a spirit back, around the West, like where people can feel proud, connect them to things that they was proud of at one time.
Like Stroke is probably my favorite joint on here.
Oh yeah, like Suge.
Like Suge goes
hard.
hard in the gym. I was in the gym today, and I was bench pressing like Suge.
Yeah.
Break that song down.
Yeah. Man, what's crazy is that's such an oldie to street urban legends, the lores of different legendary people around the West when it came to people outside of Los Angeles. People that they were talking about, the Big U's, the Magic, Shugs, Dale Dog, certain people that I met through my journey, and really just comparing, you know, how I plan to have my street urban legacy done, you know what I mean, to be viewed as some of those guys, you know, when it comes to this music stuff. And again, back to that same concept, a real tyrannical approach about enforcing my will on the business and not letting the business tell me who to be. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people get in this business and the industry tell them who to be, and they do whatever they got to do to be everybody's friends. And I thank God that every single day that I will not do that. Like I ain't never, like I hear stories of people telling me like, oh, well, you know, this happens in the industry, like the shit Puff going through, like, oh, people was watching this happen. I don't know which people you knew watching it. I ain't never seen no girl get stomped out. That never happened. And I know some vicious people, so I never been a whole ass nigga that stand around watch some shit like that happen. Like if that was me, I would have been the person be like, hey, cuz, stop. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, people, you hearing these stories about certain men who, you know, maybe don't live a homosexual lifestyle, but doing homosexual activities to get further in the business. I've never seen that happen. I've never been nowhere, and I've been to some Puff parties. I've never seen none of it. I never seen them drugging girls. So it's either all of y'all are bitch ass niggas and they doing anything around y'all, or they look at me and they be like, you know what, we not gonna do this old punk ass shit when Glasses here. Either way, it works out both for me. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine a world where I'm in a room and niggas is drugging girls' drinks and I'm just sitting right there just cool with that shit. How do niggas let this happen? What type of niggas what is happening? I can't tell you all these people that's supposed to be on drugs, I ain't never even saw a nigga do a line around me.
Come on,
you know
man. You ain't never seen nobody do a line.
Man, I don't even know if I could take that.
Man, I don't know how you escaped that one.
Man, I grew up around dealers. I think people can smell it on you. You know what I mean? Right. They like, this nigga Glasses here. You know, maybe they put their cocaine up at that point. Like, here this nigga come, man. You know what I mean? They know. Like, and you know, maybe the dudes that's, you know, trying to steal some, you know, people manhood, they like, oh, here go Glasses, and they put their condoms up. That's fine. You know what I mean? I want to be that space, and if it means that I'm not welcoming, to everybody's credit, whoever people that have been accused of doing these things, they've never denied me entry into their space. So they either somebody lying, or they like, when Glasses come around, we not gonna be bitch ass niggas. Either way, I'm great. I'm happy to inspire masculinity at the highest level of non-bitch assness shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. I hope when I walk in a room, cause they like it's a dealer here, not a junkie. Cause I don't know how you niggas walk in the room and everybody turn into junkies and it's cool, or everybody turn into rapists. I can't imagine a world where I'm walking in the room and niggas is lacing the drinks and I'm just like, yeah, it's cool, we all in here. No, nigga, hey, cuz, don't do that while I'm here. Matter of fact, don't do that shit, period. So I don't know, I don't know what's happening in hip hop. It's a lot of bullshit going on, you know what I mean? Or motherfuckers is lying. So either way, either your favorite artist is a bitch ass nigga, or your favorite artist is a bitch ass nigga. One way or another. If they letting it happen, they a bitch ass nigga. If they ignoring that it's happening, they're a bitch ass nigga. Like you have to be oblivious like me, where it's never happened around me. I never saw that. No, I'm saying it's like, you know what I mean? If it's the hard way, I'm cool. Ice-T told me, he like, Glasses, you're gonna have to take the long road. He said, you entirely too, in so many words, he like, you entirely too cultural, for it to be like, for it to be easy. It can be simple, he said, it ain't gonna be easy because what you represent. So, I don't know, man. Like, I never saw this shit. They keep acting like this shit is normal in hip hop, and I'm like, where is this happening? I've fucked with all of these niggas. I done been around all these niggas. I ain't never seen this shit. Never. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe thank God that he, you know, when he sent me in the room, they be like, let me hide. You know, I ain't finna fuck no niggas while Glasses here, or I ain't finna, you know, drug these girls when Glasses here. That's good. Fuck it. Just do y'all thing. Just don't let me find out. I respect that. Play, you know, treat me like the player that I am.
Should Diddy leave the country? Does he have any business being here right now?
Should Diddy leave the country? Man, I don't know, man. Poor Diddy.
Poor Diddy.
It's all bad, dog. Poor Diddy. Because they finna turn him into John Gotti.
Okay. But
Diddy,
wait. You just gave us a whole breakdown of how you have no idea when you never see this stuff go on.
Man, that's what I'm saying. So he must
John
be like
Gotti.
the mob. And I just didn't, I didn't know, dog. Like, the way they talking about this nigga, like, I seen him on the tape, I was like, damn. You know, but that's like, you know, I've seen that Ike Turner, you know, in a movie. So, like, you know, maybe if he got you know, he's supposed to go to jail for, you know, what they call it, spousal abuse or assault. But, like, they about to paint him like, they about to try to give Diddy 70 years. Think about that. Like, I don't know what the fuck we saw. Diddy did some shit, but 70 years. He finna get more time, you know, than Sammy the Bull. Sammy the Bull murdered 700 people. Diddy finna get more time than that. So remember that. Like, so yeah, I get it. We all supposed to be mad at Diddy right now. Diddy did some fucked up shit. But mark my words, they about to try to give Diddy 40, 50, 60 years. And something about this don't make no sense. Because there's some motherfuckers that really supposed to get 50, 60, 70 years. Diddy supposed to have whatever time it is for, you know, fighting his old lady and jumping on her like that. You know what I mean? Or whatever else crime. But they looking to get his ass. So I don't know if leaving the country is going to work for him.
You can go to a country with non-extradition, right?
That nigga's Diddy. They gonna send the SEALs after that nigga. You know, when America want to get a nigga, it ain't nowhere you can run. You know what I mean? When America want to get a nigga, it ain't nowhere you can run. You going to jail. He might as well go turn himself in right now. Just like whatever y'all want to do. He's a bad situation. So.
You know, this Kendrick and Drake conversation to me, I personally think this is the best battle ever. I have my metrics for why I think that's the case. You know, I know people disagree.
Greatest, yeah.
Greatest.
Best is hella subjective, greatest for sure.
And I think there's so many different storylines at play, right? You have the AI angle twice, right? You have tailor-made freestyle, which is an AI advertorial. It's a commercial, essentially, for, you know, one of Universal's biggest priorities in the music industry going forward. You also have BBL Drizzy, you know, just the grassroots version of AI. They playing that song at people's weddings, right?
That might be a top 5 song in this whole battle that we not giving credit to.
Yeah, easy. I mean, and it's
gonna last.
It's gonna last. It might last longer than the rest of these songs. I mean, Not Like Us is gonna be around.
Could be.
Not Like Us would be around. You know, and we haven't even got to sports season yet. We haven't gotten to we haven't got to HBCU season yet. You know what I mean? The bands haven't even touched that yet.
Hey, the Owl gonna be in trouble, man. The Owl gonna be going places. I saw they was playing it at a bar mitzvah. I said, oh, this motherfucking life for to be crazy. It's funny though, like you did that shit to Meek. See, you know what I'm saying? The culture is an ugly mirror. You know what I mean? You play it in this motherfucker, it'll show you ugly fast.
What do you, if you're Drake, what do you do now?
If I'm Drake, what do I do?
Right.
If I'm the Owl, what do I do?
Yeah, and I want you to think about it or describe it in this context in which we've talked about this, right? Talked in this conversation so far, right? We've talked about where you were in the late 2000s. This is around the time right before streaming. Drake shows up around this time too on the major.
Man, walk through the door.
Right?
I remember it.
You know,
I remember it. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about. You know, on one of those, you wanted to just rap lyricism. That's a real discussion in here. You've been on all sides of song creation and sound creation. You know what I mean? And we've already defined, you know, street urban culture. We've defined hip hop. We've defined pop, and we defined how those different audiences react to different things. Right, from Taco Bell to real fried chicken to KFC. Right, all those things in play. If you're the Owl, if you're Drizzy, what do?
Yeah, okay. So first off, this is gonna be some bullshit. This is Captain Hindsight. Should have never took the fucking battle. That was the first mistake. You know what I mean? It wasn't worth the battle. I kept saying that from the beginning. He'd be stupid to take this battle. There's nothing that's gonna work for him in this battle because this is a little ball. This little nigga Kendrick is a little baller culture. This little nigga is like a cultural phenomenon in his own rights, like Snoop. You know what I mean? So it was always gonna be a tough battle to win. Meek is a little different because Meek wanted to kind of assimilate into mainstream culture. He wanted to be wealthy and be friends with Robert Kraft, and you know, he wanted that life. This little nigga is a little Compton nigga, and he really is, for real, just the culture. You know what I mean? Fuck all the bullshit. He's very much just the culture. But since we can't go back in the time machine and fix that, today, if I was Drake, what would I do? I haven't really studied enough, you know, pop situations. What did KFC do? What did KFC do when everybody realized they said they wasn't selling fried chicken? When they said it wasn't chicken, remember they changed their name to KFC? It's like they couldn't call it Kentucky Fried Chicken because they not selling chicken, so they had to call it KFC. See, if Drake was hip hop, this would be the time where you lean against your Toronto street urban culture roots. If you were hip hop, you would go get 4 or 5 guys from the streets of Toronto, and y'all form a group. And you put on for the culture, and you put on for Toronto street urban culture. Y'all make the most Torontoist, you know what I mean, you know, street songs you could. But because he's not the culture, you know what I mean, I don't think that's a wise idea. He could put himself into a bad situation that he's not familiar with. So if I was the owl, what would I do? What would a pop, Michael Jackson, shit, it was over. You know what he could do? He can go get a sister that's really some shit and marry her. How devoted is he really to the culture? Like how bad do you really, how much of a, like you keep using the N-word, you keep using the word nigga in your rap, how much of a nigga are you? You know what I mean? Would you go marry a sister from the culture? Would you go marry somebody? That would be something if he really cared about our opinion. But I'll be honest, that nigga don't care about our opinion. He just gonna put out some more pop songs. The people who like him gonna like him. He'll talk tough, never have to back it up, and that'll be the end of it. You know, he really don't have to do nothing.
We've seen this with OJ, for example. You know, black people didn't really embrace OJ again until the trial. You know what I mean? We've seen this with Tiger Woods. The Undefeated put out a list of top 50 black athletes ever. They left Tiger Woods off. You know, when black Americans decide, oh, that's not us. They not like us. When we decide they not like us, we generally leave people alone. Now, how do you sell records? Obviously you'll be able to sell records on a pop sense, but does it look more like Post Malone territory? Does it look more like, you know, Kid Rock? You know, does it look more like that than it does what we've seen the past 15 years?
That's a good point. OJ's situation is a little different because he didn't become, well, I guess black people liked him when they was younger. I had to ask my older homies. I don't really remember OJ. But, you know, I think ever since I remember OJ, he wasn't really taking the urban perspective or the urban route until his trial. And he actually got on our radar, and we started to fuck with him after. So white people turned their back on OJ, and then we just started fucking with OJ, right? Even one of the last interviews he did before he passed away was with Cameron and Mace, so that was dope. Tiger Woods is a really good example because Tiger Woods was pretty much our everything until he said he wasn't a nigga like that. And Tiger still golfed, you know what I'm saying? I just don't think he kept his, if you're not a great black golfer, you're just a great golfer. You know what I mean? Like Serena and Venus are big because they're great black tennis players. If outside of that, you just be, I don't know, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know what it looks like for him. I mean, I think there's still some people that are black that's gonna mess with Drake, but I think he's not, I think he loses social currency. think he lost a lot of social currency. I think he lost a lot of cool, which he never was really that cool. Like, and there's some cool Jews, you know what I'm saying? Like, Adam Sandler is a cool-ass Jewish person. Seth Rogen's a cool-ass Jew. That nigga Drake, if you look at all his interviews, cuz always sounded like an attorney. He's talking to LeBron, cuz sounded like, he don't really use slang, cuz he sounds like that nigga, the microphone come on and cuz become like cool, you know what I mean? He become, you know what I mean, like the Fonz or something, cuz. But without the, like when it's just a regular microphone, he was talking to LeBron, cuz he just looked like an attorney that raps. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see, but I think this battle cost him a lot more, definitely, than I thought it ever could have. I thought it could cost him, but not like this. Like, yeah, Dot dragged him. Like, it was just owl blood everywhere. It was fucked up.
Yeah, and I feel like Drake made it easier than he had to, right? I mean, like, it was just so many
You the king of hooks, but you got one song out of all these diss records with a hook. But I'm telling you, these niggas get crazy. You know what it remind me of? Because the first time Sugar Ray Leonard fought Roberto Duran. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of niggas, all they know about Roberto Duran is no mas. They don't remember the first time they fought. Remember when Sugar Ray got fucked up by Duran the first time? Remember that? Because that nigga went in there and fought. Like, Duran pumped him up. I was looking at all the build-up on YouTube and watching that, and he was just talking shit. Like, yeah, you gonna just run around the ring like a little bitch, and pumping him up. And Sugar Ray just got so desperate to show him, like, no, I could fight you just like how you want me to fight, and I'll beat your ass. And he just kept pumping him up, and he got in the ring, and he fought the exact fight Roberto Duran wanted him to fight. And that's what Drake did with Dot. Like, you start following him. Like, people keep saying Family Matters is a great song. That's just a knockoff version of Euphoria. That's not as good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the king of records. You got the best hooks in the game. Why the fuck would you not lean to your strength? That's just dumb. But that's because he got you. He dragged you into a space and you fought his fight. And you got fucked up. Can't fight these other people fight. You got to fight your own fight. Sugar Ray made the second fight look like it should have never happened. It looked like the second fight, Sugar Ray, it looked like he should have never been in the ring with Sugar Ray before. But because that first fight, he conceded his special, the things that make him special, he really started believing people telling him he was the culture and he was this, overtly incredible, hip hop artist. Nigga, you not.
There have been comparisons to Ja Rule 50 Cent. How do you think that compares to this?
Hell no. No, it's different. Because both of them was the culture. Even Ja Rule, even in that battle, Ja Rule could have really kept putting out albums. Remember Ja Rule we talked about it, Ja Rule put out 2 albums that one went platinum, the other went gold. He should just needed to keep putting out music and we could have saw it, but he stopped putting out music. But still, Ja Rule was able to go put together New York, for a last hurrah with Joe and Jadakiss and just be a Queens nigga and, still have one last hurrah if he would have went and did more. I would love to see Drake in the gutter of Toronto, the owl in the gutter of Toronto, and he got all the Toronto goons behind him, and but then you got to go take the risk.
And who knows if he has those relationships, to be honest. One thing that stands out to me about Drake is, he's an anomaly in how I'm used to listening to what I hear when I listen to artists for a long period of time. I've been listening to Drake 15 years or something. And I'm just now or I guess maybe in the past couple of years, I've realized how little I know about Toronto, Canada, or him.
This is why I've been saying he wasn't hip hop this whole time because of that. He's a fantastic rapper, one of the greatest rap artists to ever rap. But being hip hop is a little different, and it's a little bit more restricting. But now in this situation where hip hop is freeing, because you can go back to your culture and just be what you is, now you need that. You know what I mean? So you gotta, I would say put himself out there and go put 200 Toronto goons behind him and put on for the culture, but you're not like that. So these people it could be a bad thing happen because you ain't really did great by these people. There's people over there that really want to hurt you. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't really want him to put himself in that danger. Like, I wouldn't, I don't want to see nothing happen to that man. That man feeding his family and all that. You just can't fuck with the culture.
Right. And I think that's where people some people have been getting the narrative confused around this because, again, a lot of this, I think this whole conversation, this whole battle is compelling, even if these aren't real people. Like if I was just reading this story, if this was a movie, if this was, a Shakespearean play or something, it's just a compelling, story of hubris and ego and hunger and culture and
Facts.
like just all clashing at the same time. When I listen to you on your podcast, when I listen to your music, it is deeply rooted in culture. Deeply rooted in culture. I don't think with Drake's catalog, for example, it gives the veneer of culture, largely by proximity, in my opinion. I'm not saying that as a slight.
Sure.
But I also think that, he's the first international artist to break America in hip hop and also doesn't really lean into that. I mean, that is an international pride point in a nation of immigrants. There's a way to galvanize everybody else with that same story, and that wasn't really
too busy,
pointed out.
He's too busy playing an American rapper. But again, to your point, it's like it's Taco Bell, the Mexican food. Most people around the country, if you ask most white people and some black people, obviously at this point, what's their favorite Mexican food place, it'll surprise you how many people would name Taco Bell and not realizing Taco Bell's American cuisine that's based off Mexican food. That's the problem with that.
When I was growing up, I swear to God, I thought Mexican pizza was a real thing.
Yeah, you when you ignorant, you don't know.
Right.
That's how I feel on Twitter when I'm arguing with people or debating with people about this. I'm like, fool, you don't even know life yet. You just talking. Like, for real, it's like Mexican pizza is a real thing. I'm like, bro, they don't have pizza in Mexico. There's no Mexican pizza, bro. That shit like stupid. It's like I remember we went to Japan and Head tried to order fried rice, and I'm like, cuz, first off, this ain't China and that's not Chinese, cuz that's American. You know what I mean? Like, but when you ignorant, cause you don't know, you just, I be ignorant. I'm ignorant about things now. A lot of stuff my older homies had to educate me on, but I also wasn't arrogant enough to think I knew. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of that today with social media. It's a lot of arrogance to where people was really arguing with me. Mexican pizza is really Mexican food. It's like, bro, no, it's not. It's not true.
We touched on this element earlier, right? The AI element, right? You have TaylorMade and you have BBL Drizzy.
And you have Push-Ups. Push-Ups
Right.
is a ghost-written record where we heard the initial version was a AI, a voice transplant to pitch as a ghostwriter. So a lot of ghostwriters should start using that to pitch their songs to artists. That's what Push-Ups was, the first leak. Nobody wants to admit it, but I heard it. I know what it is.
Curtis King did a great breakdown of that too. Like he did it from a producer standpoint. Where are you on AI? I think that, and the reason I ask again is, I think obviously it's a very disruptive thing that takes a lot of the, art out of the art, in my opinion, or changing what art really is in this scenario. But we've also seen it be a very effective tool. BBL Drizzy, it's a well-written song. It's a well-written song, that AI was able to, take straight to the 70s. Where are you on AI?
I just got to figure out how to use it. Like, I know how to use it, but I got to figure out how to make it mine. Once I figure out how to make AI mine, I can give an honest opinion of what it is. And I see where I'm going to be able to use it right now. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it works out for me. But
what are you going to do?
It's special. I can't get into it. But there's just like anything else, it empowers programmers. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think you could really take anything from a real musician. Nothing is going to beat a motherfucker that can walk in a room and play a horn. I don't give a fuck which computer you get. It just will never replace a person walking in this room and playing a horn. Now, who hears the recording is different, but there's nothing like when somebody walk in this room and play a horn. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's definitely empowering programmers, and it might be a little disingenuous for hip hop to be against it because it's what empowered hip hop in the first place. The drum machine, not having a drum set and having a drum machine to program So, you know, hip hop definitely should, you know, if history, you know, is to repeat or is correct, you know what I mean? Like, it should empower hip hop in a way that it's never been empowered, because you see what we was able to do with the drum machine.
That's what I'm excited about. You know what I mean? I'm definitely team AI, right? It's for one primary reason. It's here. It's not going. You can't afford not to be now. You know. Like,
You know what's funny? Every movie, I've never saw one movie about AI that was like a good thing. You ever trip over there where every movie because about AI is bad, always take over the world and kill everybody? So I need to just see some good. They got to make better movies where AI helps.
you know what the good example of AI is?
What's that?
The Jetsons.
Jetsons.
The Jetsons, the cartoon. All those robots are the robot, the maid is AI.
I don't know, because she ended up getting sassy towards the end. The Jetsons, yeah, she started getting hella sassy. So that was probably right before she killed everybody. You ever notice, like, it's all iRobot, that shit, they kill it's always AI about to kill, like, y'all niggas, like, they always start looking at human being as a virus to earth and they kill everybody, every movie. So if I see a positive movie, because even the Jetsons, like you said, the Jetsons nanny, she started getting sassy. She started talking crazy. Bitch, you a robot. Why are you talking? Bitch, I own you. What do you? And see, they start tripping. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I need to see a good movie about AI where it work out. Every movie about AI is fucked up.
As a song.
AI always look at humans and be like, y'all ain't shit.
I picked up chess as a hobby, and I really like chess culture. You know, it reminds me a lot of basketball culture. You know, I'm someone who grew up playing basketball. Just the culture around basketball, I love. The culture around chess, I love. And they talk so much about the best chess AI bot. The best chess bot is like a 3,500 ELO, which is the highest rating ever. And they talk about this bot like it's a person, you know what I mean, who has just been decimating real human chess players for the longest period of time. Mm-hmm. You know, so maybe we're seeing it take over, taking over fun things chess. Like chess, right? You know, but as a songwriter, as a publisher, as a performer, are you curious about how AI recordings, AI creations will impact spaces where your music or music that's created by artists is sold?
I don't got no fear of no robots. I don't, even streaming, I had logged out of that fear. Like, I determine how my art is sold. I got CDs right here, I got vinyls, I got cassettes at thecripstore.com. Like, I'm gonna do it what I wanna do. I don't care what everybody in the population is doing. All I need is 10,000 people to wanna buy my albums every year and I'm straight. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about what, if the world wanna do their thing, they'll figure it out. Let me tell you, man, how fucked up the world can be. Every in and out you go to is 60 motherfuckers in a drive-thru. It's always one motherfucker inside. I just park my car and walk inside. That's it. I don't really worry about what none of them motherfuckers is doing. Fuck with them 60 people. You would think they naked in their car and they can't get out. You know what I mean? But I ain't in the business of preaching to these motherfuckers. I just get out and walk in. Straight up. Fuck it.
Tyrannically impose your will.
For real. I'm telling motherfuckers to get out and walk in too. You feel me? I'm telling their ass, y'all look dumb. I just did a whole podcast telling people, like, the customer is always wrong. It's 2024, man. Yeah.
You got two shout outs today, unexpectedly. One, I was on a podcast with Ricky Dredd from We Love Hip Hop up in Canada.
Dope dude in Toronto.
Really dope dude. Yeah, I was on his podcast today. He was supposed to be in LA. And
I've been turning a lot of people on to his podcast.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I mean, they did an episode on, does Canada have a sound? Like, just in general, does Toronto have a sound?
I saw some of that.
It was fascinating to hear them talk about it.
Rick is tough. Yeah. If you definitely want to hear something about Toronto hip hop, you should check out Rick. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, he said he was coming here. He was going to have a conversation with you. He's a big fan of you. Yeah. He gave you a shout out today. And then
I'm gonna bring him to watch.
Oh, word up. Okay. And then one of the YouTube channels I watch a lot, Urban Legend Will Evans, he gave you a big shout out today. Did you see it?
Nah, I heard about it though.
Big shout out to you today. He really wants to interview you on the podcast. He did a whole episode about you distinguishing between pop and hip hop in regards to this conversation. Does the love ever get expected, or is it motivating, or is it, maybe it's something that you try not to get too close to, so that you don't maybe rest on your laurels or get lethargic in any aspect?
As most of my journey is really stoic, you can always accept love and hate. It always motivates you in its own way. But I try to keep a stoic pace. Like, I don't give a fuck what nobody talking about. Because if I start really caring the first day that, as much as it empowers me, it also becomes like, it's already a full tank. That shit ain't nothing but octane boost. It's a full tank. I'm going where I'm going no matter what. Straight up.
Word up.
Yeah.
Glasses Malone. Fuck Glasses Malone out now.
That part, yeah. At www.thecripstore.com.
Word up. Anything else you want to
My
cover?
man.
My brother.
I'm good. And my ass hurting.
That's all I have.
Flat.